Welcome to Network Kings and welcome to the Microsoft Azure AZ104 course. So I hope you are actually, willing to learn like what is Microsoft Azure and what is cloud and all that. Some of you might already know about this, like what is cloud and the rest of the stuff. But I will be actually explaining you everything from scratch. सब कुछ एकदम scratch से हम लोग पढ़ने वाले हैं. बिल्कुल भी ऐसा नहीं होगा कि ये चीज मुझे नहीं आती पहले से. So everything will be from scratch, right? So this is the Microsoft Azure. Now this is the cloud platform from Microsoft. There are some other cloud platforms as well, like AWS, Google Cloud, Alibaba, IBM. There are so many cloud platforms. But if I talk about Microsoft Azure, this is on the second number. This is the second most leading cloud platform. And we are going to learn about this. Okay, so let's start with the introduction. Now, before actually moving further, let's see what is cloud computing. So see, in your organizations, you have your servers, your computers, right? Big machinery, networking devices, firewalls, and all that, right? ये सारे के सारे आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में आपकी कंपनी के अंदर होते हैं. But what cloud computing is, like it is the delivery of computing services like the storage, servers, networking devices, firewalls, right? Threat intelligence, and all these things will be delivered to you over the internet. So you don't have to go and purchase and give the upfront cost for any kind of hardware. Well, you can straight away, go on to this cloud platform and pay for what you use. So you will only be charged for whatever you are using. That's it. And for example, I actually ran my virtual machine on my cloud computing platform. Like I'll just talk about Microsoft Azure only. Okay. So for example, I ran a virtual machine on Microsoft Azure. So I will only pay for the time for whatever I'm using it. So if I'm using it for half an hour only, then I have to pay for half an hour only, right? So I'll be billed on what I use. So whether it is a storage, whether it is a server, anything. So I'll be billed based on the usage. That's it. Now it is going to make everything flexible for you. एकदम सब कुछ एकदम flexible होने वाला आपके लिए. Like whatever you need, if you need a higher end server, if you need a low end server, if you need a mediocre range server, whatsoever you need, everything will be delivered to you, right? Let's move ahead. So why cloud computing? Well, there are so many reasons. Number one is the cost. As I told you, you are only going to pay for what you use. The speed, you can anytime upgrade any speed you want. If I talk about the internet, like the Microsoft's internet is blazingly fast. I'll also show you a demonstration on that, right? So Microsoft's internet is blazingly fast. Globally scalable, well, you can scale your business. Just suppose if your virtual machine is actually like, in one region, let's say my server is actually, running in India, like in the Indian data center of Azure, right? And I want to actually scale up my business. Like maybe I want to run another server, maybe in some other region. I can do that. Anytime I can upgrade my CPU's configuration and anytime I can downgrade my configuration. That depends upon me. That depends upon the responsibilities that I am having. Right? Then we have the productivity, performance, reliability, and security. Right? So there are several factors why we actually talk about cloud computing. Right? So it gives you the best out of everything. So if you deploy, your own devices, your own hardware on premises, then you have to actually take care of it. You have to bear all the tensions. You need to actually look on to the maintenance of the servers, the electricity, the air conditioners, everything. Okay. Then let's talk about Azure now. Enough of the cloud computing. Let's talk about Azure. Now, Azure is a cloud platform that offers you more than 200 products and cloud services designed to help you bring new solutions to life. So it is offering you more than 200 products, 200 services, more than 200 services. So just go ahead and use any service you want. Okay. Now, Azure was actually launched on 1st of February 2010. I know AWS was launched, way back, but, I'm just going to talk about Azure only. Now, it is free to start and also provide you pay as you go model. Now, what is the best part of Azure? Now, if you will sign in, okay, with the free account for 1 month, you are going to get 14,500 rupees for free of cost. Well, you cannot withdraw this from the ATM machine, but definitely you can use this amount if you want to actually try out all the services in Azure. अगर आप Azure की सारी सर्विसेज को यूज करना चाहते हैं तो आपको खुद से पैसा देने की जरूरत नहीं है। आपको क्या करना है, जब आप फ्री अकाउंट बनाएंगे आपको 14,500 रुपीज मिलेंगे, आपको उसी में से सब कुछ स्पेंड करना है। Now that will be for 1 month only, but that is a good thing, you can actually do whatever you want on Azure. And you will be amazed to know that 95% of the Fortune 500 companies use Azure services. कोई कंपनी कुछ सर्विस यूज करती है, कोई कंपनी कुछ सर्विस यूज करती है, because Azure is offering more than 200 services, right? So more than, you can say 95% of the Fortune 500 companies use Azure services. So you can just assume like how reliable is it, right? If companies are investing, definitely you should also invest your time in learning whatever the whatever is most more demanding in the market, right? And above all, it supports the programming languages like C, Java, Ruby, Python, PHP. Okay, so all these languages are supported on Azure. So if you are thinking of actually creating any web application, go ahead and use it. Okay, because it actually supports most of the programming languages in which the code is being developed. So you can just actually develop the code and just push it onto the Azure, and rest Azure will take care of it. All right. Now the Azure is having more than Azure is having the data centers in more than 140 countries. Now this presentation was a little old, but let me tell you now, Azure is having the data centers in more than 140 countries. Okay, so you are going to get a good service in almost every popular country. All right. And this is going to be the badge that you are going to achieve after you do this course. So once you will complete this course, and once you will actually, go ahead and understand the concepts and give the examination. Now the course code is AZ104. So when you will be actually giving the examination of AZ104, you will be certified and you will be getting this badge. So all you have to think about this badge, you have to achieve it, you have to earn it, I should say, right? So इस badge को आपने कमाना है. You have to earn this badge. Okay. Now let me just actually tell you, a little. Now this is the first lecture, so I'm going to actually give you the introduction only. So let me just tell you how you can actually get that 14,500 rupees for free of cost. And if you are actually, I guess, living in the US or somewhere, so you'll be getting $200 approximately, right? So that is a good chance. So let me just actually, go on to my portal over here. So I need to actually skip it. Thank you. Let me just share the complete screen. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to actually tell you like how you can actually get a free account. So I'm going to actually open the incognito mode so that I can tell you a little bit more about Azure, right? So let's write Microsoft Azure in the address bar, and let's see what result we get. And we are going to move directly onto the Azure without wasting any more time. So here we have the Microsoft Azure Cloud Computing Services. So I'm going to click on this link. And over here, you can just see that we have a link that says try Azure for free. So I'm going to just click on this, and it is going to give me enough details about the course. About the Azure, right? So we have the start free button, but before actually moving on to this, let's go ahead and understand what we are going to get in Azure. So if I just scroll down, you can see that I'm going to get some services which are popular, and I'm going to get that for 12 months. 12 महीनों के लिए कुछ popular services हमें free मिलने वाली है. Then I'll be getting 25 plus services which will be free for always. So even if you are paying, then also you are going to get 25 plus services which are going to remain free forever. Azure is not going to charge you anything, right? And you will get US $200 as Azure credit. So if you are making an Indian account, so you are going to get around 14,500 rupees. Okay. And you just need to note down one thing, that you will have to use this credit within 30 days. Because if you actually exceed 30 days, it is going to, delete all your, or it is going to actually, you can say, revoke all your credits. So these credits are only available till 30 days. So if you want to use Azure for free, definitely you have to use these credits in 30 days, right? It doesn't matter if you use or you do not use, it is going to stop everything after 30 days. And you know what is the coolest thing about Azure? It is not going to charge you anything even after 30 days. So after 30 days, it is going to ask you that, hey, whether you want to upgrade your subscription or not. So if you are not interested in upgrading your subscription at that moment, you can just leave it as it is. It is not going to charge a single penny from your account. This is the best part of Azure. It is going to stop all the services and it is going to wait for you. If you will upgrade your plan to pay as you go, definitely only then it will allow you to actually use the services. Otherwise, it will stop everything. Okay, so this is a good thing. And we are going to get this credit today itself. Okay, now let's see. You can actually create a lot with Azure. So I can say like if you just scroll down, so you have the services mentioned over here, which are going to be available for free for 12 months. Okay, so if I just talk about this Linux machine will be available for 750 hours a month. Okay, so इस मशीन को अगर मैं 750 घंटे चलाऊं तो बिल्कुल फ्री रहेगा, कोई चार्जेस नहीं कटेंगे, not even from my credits. But there is a condition, guys, that if you want to use this machine for free, you actually need to use this hardware, that is B1S model. We're going to talk about the B1S in tomorrow's class, like what is B1S and what are the other models available. But I'm just letting you know, I'm just giving you an overview. Like if you want to use this machine for free of cost, then you have to use this particular model only. Now, B1S contains one virtual CPU and 1 GB of RAM. That's it. Okay. But again, we have credits, so we don't have to worry about the cost. We have 14,500 rupees. So yes, it's good. Right? Talking about Windows, yes, again, we can run the Windows virtual machine as well. Again, for 750 hours, but the hardware type has to be B1S. Now, there are several other services, and there are all services like which will be available for free of cost. But if you just want to know more about the services, just go and click on see all free services, and you're going to get every information about each and every service. Okay. Now it's the time to actually create the free account. So let me just scroll up and let me just click on start free. So I'll click on this. Now I'll be doing each and every thing step by step so that you can get an idea like what I'm going to create and how you are going to create your free account. Okay. So let's wait for the Azure sign up. That's great. So you have to sign in with your Microsoft account. But if you do not have your Microsoft account, you can just go ahead and create one. So I'm going to start from the scratch. So I'm going to create a Microsoft ID. I'll click on create one. And now I'll be moving on to, you can use a phone number or you can get a new email address. Now, again, it is up to you. See, you can just use a phone number or you can get a new email address. So, you are actually starting a new thing. So I believe like you should actually go with the new email address. So I'm just going to click on this. Let's create one account. Let's say 20112, something like this, and hit next. Now this account is available. I just need to actually go ahead and create the password and click on next. Now it is going to actually ask me that whether if I am a robot or not. So I have to prove my identity. So it is going to ask me a puzzle over here. So I have to solve that. Right? छोटी सी puzzle है, like solve हो जाएगी फटाफट से. Let's wait for the puzzle. All right, I'll say next over here. And see, we have to actually do it like this. There you go. I have proved like I am not a robot. I'm a human being, right? All right. So here you have to fill up all your details like your first name and last name. So let me just actually give my first name, my last name. The middle name is optional. Give your email ID like for like the account with which you are actually going to create. Now this is going to be the phone number. So I'm just going to put a demo number over here, right? And you can just select either you want to get a code by text or call just for the verification purpose. So you can just select any of the method and put the organization. For example, I'll say, this is my organization and the PAN ID is purely optional. Oh, thanks, Mohammed Anas. Thank you. Okay, so here we go. So we will put the organization name and we will put the PAN ID. Just accept all the conditions and just hit next. But you know why it is actually, you know, disabling me from clicking on this? Because I haven't verified my phone number. So first of all, I have to verify, as I am not providing my original number over here. You can just do it or text me or call me and your identity will be verified. And then you can just click on next. And in the next step, you have to give the identity verification by card. So for Azure, you need to actually give a credit card in order to obtain a free account. So if you need a free account, you need to have a credit card. Okay, now this option will be enabled if I'll just click on next, but all you can do just verify a phone number and you will be getting an option for the verification of card. Put your card details. Don't worry, it is totally safe. Just see over here. It is not going to charge you anything. Like 2 rupees will be charged for the verification, but that will also come back after 2 or 3 days. जो 2 रुपए कटेंगे आपके वो भी 2 या 3 दिन में वापस आ जाएंगे. टेंशन वाली बात नहीं है. And it is also mentioning like after your credit is over, we will ask you if you want to continue with pay as you go service. If you do, you will only pay if you use more than the free amounts of services. That's it. So if you select the pay as you go method, only then you will be charged from the credit card. Otherwise, you will not be charged a single penny. So you have to do the verification by card. And after that, you will get your free account. Now I have already, you know, one account created over here. So let me just actually log in into that. And let me just show you how the Azure portal looks like. So I just actually click on this and let me just actually move on to the Microsoft Azure portal. There you go. It is actually loading. There you go. Now this is your Azure portal. Now you can actually go ahead and create anything you want over here, right? Just use anything you want, any service. You want to use virtual machine, the containers, Kubernetes, you know, DNS, whatever you want, right? You can just go ahead and create it, right? Now I will actually demonstrate you this virtual machine. Now you can just see I have this 7,039 rupees left as my credit. So I can just use it. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually let you know about the virtual machine. Now this will be the beginner part, but before that, let me just tell you the benefit of Azure right over here. So I'm going to use my favorite tool, and that is Paint. I know that might be, you know, like funny, like how Paint is good, but you know, trust me, Paint is fantastic. Anyways, I'm going to use Paint in order to make you understand like why Azure is good, or why cloud computing is good, I should say, right? Okay, so I'm gonna actually separate this canvas in 2 parts. Okay, so we have the left and the right. So here we will actually discuss like on-prem deployment. And here we are going to discuss cloud deployment. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the difference between the on-prem and the cloud deployment. This is really interesting, guys. But just suppose like if you actually want to deploy a server like on premises, and if you just want to go ahead and, you know, get a server from the market, from the online, or maybe like from anywhere, so you have to pay the upfront cost. So you will actually create a big physical server. Now this is going to be the physical server, right? And on top of this physical server, you will create something known as the virtual machines. In order to optimally use your hardware, you are actually going to create what is known as virtual machine. Now, the same thing, I will actually go ahead and deploy on the cloud side as well. But here I'm going to show you the difference, right? Now, in the on-prem deployment, this physical server has to be maintained by you. So you will have to take care of the physical hardware that you actually deployed. So you have to actually bear some things over here. Let me just actually, tell, like you have to bear the upfront cost. You have to bear the electricity, UPS, I mean the power supply or UPS, like, and what else you need is lease line, internet connection, right? Even a backup line, right? Backup internet connection. What else? What else? What else? What else? Storage devices, storage, right? Firewall. So many things that you have to actually, and obviously one more, one of the most important thing that I actually missed, that is maintenance. This is really important. So you have to take care of all these things if you deploy the physical server on premises. जैसे कि आप अपने कंपनी के अंदर फिजिकली सर्वर लगाते हो ना, तो आपको ये सारा कुछ बियर करना पड़ेगा. Now electricity has the cost for the air conditioners as well. Okay, you have to run the air conditioners 24/7 in order to keep your server cool, right? So you have to actually look for all these things. And in cloud deployment, this physical server will be actually maintained by Azure guys. So you don't have to actually worry about maintaining the physical server on which your virtual machines are going to deploy. Well, Azure will take care of this physical server, right? Now, if you have paid around, maybe I should say 4 lakh rupees for this big server. Now, if you're running 2 virtual machines, just suppose your business is going very well. But later on, if you feel like your business isn't going well and you stop using one virtual machine, then it is going to be a loss for you. Well, you paid 4 lakh rupees for this physical server and you are not optimally using the hardware, then shutting down a machine will actually count as the waste of the hardware. ये आपके लिए wastage है hardware. इतना बड़ा लगाया ही क्यों? So if you stop any virtual machine, maybe your one of the business fails and you need to actually, destruct your one of the virtual machines, then definitely this big physical server is a complete waste for you. Why you actually paid this upfront cost? But if you actually stop one of the virtual machine on cloud, you will actually save the cost, because on cloud, you are only going to pay for what you use. अगर आप एक 2 वर्चुअल मशीन यूज कर रहे हो तो 2 वर्चुअल मशीन का पैसा दे रहे हो. अगर आप एक वर्चुअल मशीन यूज कर रहे हो तो एक का पैसा दोगे. सो whenever you actually stop one of the virtual machine, in fact you are going to save some cost, right? So that is why even if you want to actually scale up your business, okay, I just take an example. If this virtual machine is not capable enough to handle all the traffic that is moving onto your virtual machine, and if you just want to actually scale up your hardware, just with one click you can do that. The biggest drawback I found on premises is about this physical hardware. Like after 5 or 10 years, this physical hardware is going to depreciate, and this physical hardware is going to be a little old-fashioned. Obviously, there is a wear and tear of the hardware parts. Do you agree, guys? Yes or no in the chat box? Do you agree that there is a wear and tear of the hardware? घिसाई होती है हमारे hardware parts की. You agree, right? Yes. So when that wear and tear will occur, definitely our physical, hardware resources are going to get older, and the technology is moving ahead. If we want to get the new technology, again, we have to actually, invest much money on this. But, we are quite relaxed. If we just deploy anything on Azure, we are quite relaxed. We don't have to worry about anything. Well, everything is going to take care by Azure itself, right? So we don't have to worry about the physical hardware. We are getting all that benefits, all that premium features from Azure. Azure is going to invest the cost in the physical server, not us, right? So that is the benefit of actually deploying everything on cloud. Now, I will not suggest you, like, if you're starting a business, then you can just go ahead and deploy on Azure. Because if you're not sure like what profit you are going to get from the cloud, then you should not invest. First of all, just start with a base machine. Like you can just take 8 GB or 16 GB CPU and just start, deploying your business. Once you're feeling like, okay, now I'm earning enough of the profits, so I can just move ahead now and I can deploy everything on Azure. Then you can go ahead and deploy everything, migrate everything onto the Azure. So it is quite easy to, migrate all your stuff from on-premises to Microsoft Azure. जो आपकी वर्चुअल मशीन्स ऑन प्रेमाइसेस चल रही हैं, वो सारी की सारी आप एक साथ उठाकर लेके जा सकते हैं Azure के ऊपर. All right. So lots of, there are lots of things that you need to learn in Azure, and that is going to benefit you and your organization. So that is why I suggest, if you're running a large scale business, if a business is running on large scale, you should not actually deploy on premises. You should actually go with cloud deployment. In some cases, you may feel like on premises is cheaper. I agree, on premises deployment is cheaper. You can actually, take out all this cost in maybe a year or two, but trust me, you have to bear up these costs. And your hardware will go older year by year. The technologies, the processors are going to, upgrade. Like nowadays, you can actually see, like in the normal laptops, you're going to get 11th generation processors. There are people like me in my laptop. I'm using this 3rd generation processor. You can just have a look over here. I'm using a 3rd generation processor. Now my hardware is definitely old. So you can just see this is a 3rd gen processor, i5 3rd gen, right? So I'm using the older hardware, right? But in today's laptops, you can actually see like the processors are blazingly fast. Okay, I got a question like, can I just briefly explain about the lease line? Okay, so lease line are the one-to-one connections, one-to-one internet connections, and you have to pay more. So if you are actually getting a broadband connection, like a normal connection, that you can get in quite cheap rates, like you have to pay like 1,500 a month. That is fine. Okay, like good speed, you are going to get a good connection, but the broadband is not actually distributed in 1:1. Okay, well, if you just want to actually get a direct line, then you need to actually look for the lease line connections. Now the lease line connections are quite costly. If you just go with the Airtel plan, I'm not sure about the cost exactly, but if you just go with the Airtel plan, Airtel lease line for 40 Mbps, I guess you have to bear around, I guess 1,30,000. Let the 40 Mbps plan like for a year, right? So I'm not sure about the amount, but definitely it is going to cross the 1 lakh rupees, right? So that will be a direct line. Okay. So definitely a lease line connection you need if you want that your business is going to actually, be, ready to serve and everything. It should never go down. The internet should not go down. So that is the thing. Okay. Yes, Mr. Mohammed, you have a question. What are the roles of Azure admin? I will explain you in the course itself. Now, this is the introduction. So that is why I'm just actually, introducing you to the Azure, right? Yes, in the administration, you manage the complete task. For example, if you want to give permission to any user, you want to maintain the Active Directory, you want to migrate the machines, you want to create the storage accounts, you want to set up the VPNs, load balancers, application gateways, network watchers, all these things are actually maintained by the Azure admin only. And this course is all about the Azure administration. So yes, we are going to learn a lot of things. We are going to learn whatever the Microsoft is demanding, and we are going to achieve it soon. Okay, just focus on that badge that I told you, like the 2-star badge that you have to like achieve. Okay, you're welcome. All right, so let's move on to the Azure, and let me just actually tell you how easy it is to actually deploy a virtual machine, right? And I'm going to just give you a brief introduction. I'm not going into the detail in this first class, but slowly and steadily, I'm going to tell you each and every single thing about, the Azure administration. Let's see how easy it is to actually create a virtual machine. So I'm just gonna click on the virtual machines from here, or you can actually click on this menu and you can just actually move on to the virtual machines. It's your call from wherever you want to go, just go ahead. Now here, you will actually see that I do not have any virtual machine available. So I'm gonna actually go and click on create and click on virtual machine. Okay, now this is going to give me the options like what I want to install, where I want to install, what is going to be the CPU architecture, everything. Now just see here, I'm going to create a new group. I'm going to tell you about the group in tomorrow's class. Okay, let's create a demo group over here. Now, what will be the name of my virtual machine? Well, I'll say, let it say like WinSVR, Windows Server. Now, where I want to deploy. So we have, all the regions available over here. Wherever you want to deploy, just go ahead and deploy your virtual machine. If you want India, just type India over here and you will get the South India, West India, and Central India. There are 3 regions in India, right? If you will actually, 3 data centers. I'm so sorry. Okay, but I want to deploy my virtual machine in East US. So I'm going to click on East US. I will select like what image I want, like Server 2019, Ubuntu Server, Windows 10, Red Hat, Oracle, Debian, CentOS, whatever you want. Just go ahead and select the image. I'm going to deploy Windows Server 2019. Now I have the size of the CPU. So if I believe that this size is okay, like 2 virtual CPUs and 8 gigs of RAM, now this is actually giving you an approximation like how much it is going to charge you per month. So this is assuming that your virtual machine is going to run 24/7. So if that is so, then you have to go and bear this much of cost. If you want to select any other size, just click on see all sizes and you can just pretty much select from here anything that you want, like how much RAM is going to use and how much the processors that you are actually going to deploy in your virtual machine. But I'm pretty happy with the current size, that is the 2 virtual CPUs and 8 gigs of RAM. I will actually go ahead and give any username. As this is the Windows machine, so I'm going to open the remote desktop protocol so that I can take a remote connection of my virtual machine. So this port is by default allowed in the firewall. And if you have the server license, just go ahead and check this and you are going to save around 49%. Otherwise, if you do not have any license, don't worry. Microsoft Azure is going to provide you the license. Just select next for the disk and just see what I am using over here. So I have 3 options like the standard hard disk, the standard SSD, but I'm going to use the premium SSD over here. Isn't that great? My workloads are going to perform very fast. I'm going to actually get the blazing fast speed over here. So I'm going to select the premium SSD and I will not actually go much in detail in today's class. So let me just click on review and create. And finally, I can actually click on create. It is going to give you an approximation like what cost you are going to bear per hour. So if I use this machine, I'm going to get, let's see, around 7 rupees per hour. But that is fine. Now I'm going to bear 7 rupees per hour. That's okay. I can click on create and this is going to create my virtual machine. You can just also deploy a one-click virtual machine, but that is a separate case. So I'm going to talk about that later. So I just shown you the normal deployment method, but if you just want to use any PowerShell script, you can just click on that and you are going to get the virtual machine. Now this virtual machine has the chances to be deployed in less than 1 minute. मतलब chances होते हैं कि 1 मिनट से भी कम में आपकी virtual machine बन जाएगी. Ready मतलब machine बन के Windows install होके start हो जाएगी. It will be readily available to you, right? So we just need to actually wait for some seconds. It also depends upon the region where you're actually deploying the virtual machine, and the speed actually belongs to that region, like what type of hardware is being used in the Azure data center. All right. So as you can see, there are several resources that are being used. I'm going to get one public IP as well, with which I can actually remote into my virtual machine. Okay. So let's wait for a couple of seconds. I guess it's done. And there you go. In less than a minute, I got my virtual machine. I can just click on go to the resource. Now you can just see the overview of your virtual machine. Like this is the, hardware configuration of your virtual machine. In the East US, it has been deployed, and this is the public IP with which you can actually remote into your virtual machine. So let me just remote into the virtual machine with a very quick method. I will click on connect. I will go on RDP, that is the remote desktop protocol, and I can just click on download RDP file. Now here is the file. I'll click on this, say connect to it. Okay, let me just enter the username and the password. Say yes to the certificates, and there you go. So now you have successfully logged in into your virtual machine. Now, the best part is that it is actually having a good configuration. However, like in the other cloud platforms, you may not get, the big configuration. You only have to stick to the free tier architecture. But, that is a good thing about the Azure. Like, you can actually use your credits in order to practice any service on Microsoft Azure. So this is my Windows Server 2019 with the premium solid state drive, that is the premium SSD. And if you guys are not sure, like what is going to be the internet speed over here, let me just give you a quick test over here. So if I just click on the local server, let me just give you a quick, speed test over here. Okay, let me just disable the internet security. Let's go on to the browser. And whatever, the speed test provider you actually trust. So I basically use 𝐍𝐞𝐭𝐰𝐨. So I'll just say speed test, and I will get the results from the 𝐍𝐞𝐭𝐰𝐨. Let's actually test the internet speed over here. So I'm just going to click on go. Now this is the old Internet Explorer, so it may get, a little slow response and all that. The graphics are not good. Oh, but let's look at the speed, man. It's 1172 Mbps. It has crossed 1 Gbps actually. Right. So let's see the final result. It's 1113 Mbps. Oh my God. What is this? What the blazing fast speed I'm getting over here? So that is why I actually prefer Azure, because, when you are actually going to deploy your workloads onto this virtual machine, or you actually deploy your workloads on Microsoft Azure, you are going to get blazing fast speed. Okay, so you can just run the test with any of the speed test provider. You will get the results. This is a good offering. All right. So let me just close this, and you can just have an overview, like what type of CPU you are having, and what is the name of the server. So this we have pretty much discussed all in MCSA. Okay. Now, if you are unhappy with the configuration, you just say like, okay, 8 GB RAM is not sufficient for me. Or maybe like this is more. I just need to, lower down my CPU architecture because this is going to cost you a little more, right? So anytime you can upgrade or downgrade your configuration. On the very left side, you will see something known as the size. If I click on this, just select your desired size. So for example, I just say that I need the 2 virtual CPUs, but I need 4 gigs of RAM instead of 8 gigs. I can just click on this. And on the very right side, I'm so sorry, I just scrolled down by mistake. You will get the cost also. So when I actually selected the 8 gigs version over here, like this one, it was costing me around 5,048. But if I just select the 4 GB, yeah, this one, it is only going to cost me around 2,187. So anytime you want to resize your virtual machine, just click on resize, and it is going to resize your virtual machine in less than a minute. Fail to resize. Okay, B2S is not compatible. Okay, let me just actually use any other hardware structure. Let's say this one virtual CPU and 3.5, because some VM sizes are not available in the specific regions. I have deployed my virtual machine in East US, so it might not be supported over there. Let's select this one and let's click on resize. So I have now selected 1 virtual CPU and 3.5 gigs of RAM. Now this is just a demonstration, like to just show you that yes, it can resize the CPU. I got a question like, what is the alternative to the RDP? Well, the alternative to the RDP is the Bastion service. We're going to talk about the Bastion service in our course. Okay, so now your CPU machine has been resized. If you will just go on to the overview, and if you will just refresh, then you will see that the CPU has been changed to one virtual CPU and 3.5 gigs of RAM. So now if you want to take the remote, just use the previous file, or you can just use the new file over here. You will get the change in the CPU. Now you are going to pay less. Okay. So that depends upon the requirement. So that depends upon the testing. Like if you have a web application, if you want to run a web application on your virtual machine, you can just go ahead and try out, right? Okay, that's a good question. Let's actually talk about this. Exactly, you're right. So if I just actually, download the RDP file, that's a good question. If I just download it, if I just actually click on this. Okay, let's say connect. And there you go. There you go, right? So this is the answer to your question. Well, the question was like, will the virtual machine be restarted when we actually resize the machine? Yes, obviously, because this is but obvious. Let me just give you an example. If I just ask you to upgrade the RAM of the physical machine, can you upgrade the RAM without turning off the machine? Or can you make the RAM lower without turning off the machine? No, right? It will actually, yes, obviously, like you have to shut it down, right? So that is why the machine, first of all, shut down itself, and then actually move ahead and, change the hardware type, and then it actually restarts the virtual machine. So it kind of actually, shuts down automatically, change the hardware type, and then it will start. Now, the best part which I like about this Microsoft Azure is like you can just reset the password of any user just from this console only. So just suppose your machine is compromised, or maybe like you forgot your password for your Azure virtual machine. You don't have to worry about that. If I just scroll down, you will see something known as reset password. If I just click on this, I just need to mention the username over here, even if the machine is running, okay? Even if you do not have the access. Okay, so I just need to put the username over here, and I just need to put the new password. I don't have to actually go with the old password. I just need to actually put the new password. That's it. It will reset my password. So if you forgot your password, don't worry. You can reset it, right? And again, I got a question over here, like it will be very much tough for, if we have thousands of virtual machine, it will be really tough to download the RDP file. Well, if you don't want to download the RDP file, you can just go on to the overview of the virtual machine. Let me just go over here. Let me just copy the public IP address right from here. Let it load. If it takes time, then you can just refresh the complete blade. But anyways, let me just copy the public IP address, and let me just use MSTSC. That is the remote desktop console. You can just paste the IP, and you can just click on connect. I am already connected. Let me just close this. And if I just say connect, it is going to again ask me to connect to the virtual machine. So I can just also connect with the remote desktop protocol. You can just share the IPs, or if you don't want to share the IP, you can just actually go ahead and use the DNS name. If you want to actually start your virtual machine with the DNS, you can actually label it over here. So we're going to talk about this later on, right? Like how you can assign the DNS name to a virtual machine, so that if you don't want to actually give the IP of the virtual machine to anyone, you can just hide that behind a name. Okay. So we'll understand like how we can actually use this thing, right, for the DNS name label, right? So that was the introduction part that I would like to actually tell you, right? Okay. So guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me on the chat. No. DNS name is totally different. We will talk about this. Okay. Not to worry. Ankush, you got a good question. Like, what are going to be the background processes when we actually create the virtual machine? Surely, I'm going to tell you this when the actual, when I'm going to talk about more in detail about the virtual machine. So that will be done tomorrow or maybe like in the, next weekend. Yes, for the duration of the course, this is going to last for around 2 months, right? 2 months, because this is going to be the weekend class and we are going to actually go like 2 hours each day. Now, this is the first class. Like today and tomorrow, it is only going to be the 1 hour class. Definitely, when the demo classes or you can say the pre-classes will be over, you can surely unmute yourself and you can ask the questions. Yes, this batch is going to be on Saturdays and Sundays. The timings are going to be, I believe, 8 to 10, right? 2 hours, like Saturday and Sunday, right? Now, this was just the introduction, guys. There is a lot much to learn. However, if you just want to look onto the syllabus, you can just go onto, Microsoft website. You can just say AZ104 and you can just go ahead and, check out the syllabus for AZ104. Very well. And I'm also going to ask you questions, some technical questions in the batch, like in our class. So I just need you to understand each and every concept. So I would like that everyone should participate into the, class discussions so that, you can, like get, good knowledge, out of this, right? Out of this course. So I just want everyone should participate and answer the questions. It doesn't matter if you answer right or wrong. I just want your participation. Okay. Perfect. Well, if you need to take permission for that, like if you can use your company's account, like if they allow you to actually use that, they might have some, they might be charged when you actually create any resource on the Azure. Well, it would be really better if you use the another account and you can use the free credits, right? Oh, that's great. That's great. Yes. You cannot extend the free account, but if you want, the free account after 1 month, however, you can just use any other credit card, like for like a card of your friend or maybe like any family member. That will help you a lot. Abhishek, the other payment way for the Azure account is the Azure student account. In that you will be getting $100, but for the Azure student account, you should have your student email ID that has to be registered on the university's email, right? So if you have that, you can just search on Google how to create a student account. You can just go ahead and create that. For that, you do not need any credit card. Okay, so you can just create and use your free student account, right? You'll get $100, but that are also enough for this course. Anything else, guys? All good? I hope you are excited, right? Yes, that's great. Okay, I just request, all of you like to put your original names in the participant list, because it will be really, easy for me to actually identify you, like if you are attending and I can ask you questions and who is asking me questions. Now I can just see like one user is Apple over here. So if you can just, like rename yourself from the next class. Okay. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I got you. I can see like some students are there from the MCSA batch. So it's a good, push up for you guys. All right, then. Fine. So I would expect that you should actually try to create a free account. Okay. And if you have any confusion, guys, please go ahead and, ask Network Kings for any doubt you are having. So you can just see the phone numbers, like they are actually like present like at the bottom. So if you just, see over here, like if you just want to ask, Network Kings any questions, there's a toll-free number. So you can just call them, or just WhatsApp them. Like if you have any, any other thing that you want to know about the batch, the fees, or anything that you want, you can just go ahead and ask Network Kings. They will surely help you. Okay. Yeah. Just take care of yourself. Bye-bye. You have a good night.